On the canvas of history, there are moments so poignant they transcend time, becoming echoes that resonate through the corridors of our collective memory. Such is the case with the enigmatic tale of Roanoke, an enigma that has captivated imaginations for centuries. In the misty realm of 1587, on the shores of an island veiled in mist, where twisted cypresses stood like skeletal guardians against skies heavy with the fury of Atlantic storms, a drama of human emotions unfolded. The distant roar of crashing waves provided a haunting backdrop to the story of Eleanor Dare, a young woman whose spirit embodied the hopes and fears of an age of exploration. Her story is a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who dared to venture into the uncharted territories of the New World. This was a time when the horizon held both promise and peril, and every step into the unknown was a gamble with fate. The year was 1587, and the stage was set on the shores of Roanoke Island, a place steeped in both natural beauty and the looming presence of the untamed wilderness. Our story begins with the arrival of a group of English settlers led by the resolute Governor John White, a man whose weathered frame bore the weight of a formidable task, the establishment of an English colony in this alien landscape. Among them was Eleanor Dare, a young woman who unknowingly stepped onto a path that would lead her to the very heart of adventure, love, loss, and ultimately mystery. Eleanor's world was one of contrasts, much like the New World itself. She had been born into the idyllic landscapes of England's countryside, where life's challenges seemed a world away from the trials that awaited her on the shores of Roanoke. Yet fate, it seemed, had a way of bridging these divides and thrusting her into the midst of a pioneering spirit that defined an era. The voyage itself was a microcosm of the challenges that lay ahead. The vast ocean that had beckoned with promises of discovery was now a tempestuous reality, testing the mettle of those who dared to cross its churning expanse. And as the Lion finally docked at Roanoke, it was not just a new land that greeted them, but a profound sense of uncertainty. John White, the colony's governor, was a man of unwavering determination. His journey to the New World had been marked by a deep fascination with the untapped potential of this land. But as he stood on the threshold of this untamed wilderness, he couldn't shake off the gnawing fear that whispered of impending failure. His mind raced, contemplating the daunting task that lay before him, the survival of his colonists amidst the myriad challenges of an unfamiliar terrain. His daughter Eleanor stood beside him, her youthful face etched with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. She was a woman on the cusp of adulthood, her spirit as untamed as the wilderness that stretched before them. Her gaze was fixed on the horizon, where the vast expanse of the sea met the rugged coastline, symbolizing the boundless opportunities and perils that lay ahead. As the Lion docked, the first steps onto Roanoke Island were tentative, each footstep echoing with the weight of what was to come. The air was thick with the scent of the unknown, a heady mix of salt, sea, and the earthy musk of an untouched wilderness. It was a moment of profound transition, a departure from the familiar shores of England into a realm where the rules of their world no longer applied. Among the group of settlers, one individual stood out, Ralph Lane, a seasoned adventurer whose eyes held the glint of both curiosity and wariness. His past exploits hinting at a world where survival often hung in the balance. He had seen the allure of the New World firsthand and understood the delicate balance between wonder and peril. As the settlers began to disembark, each item carried ashore represented more than just provisions and tools. They were tokens of their civilization, anchors in a sea of uncertainty. The rhythmic clang of metal tools on wood marked the beginning of a new chapter. The construction of Fort Raleigh, a symbol of their determination to carve a piece of their homeland into this alien landscape. Yet, as the fort took shape, a palpable tension began to rise among the settlers. Whispers of skirmishes with the natives, tales of treachery, and the constant shadow of disease loomed over their fledgling settlement. Each passing day brought new challenges, testing the limits of their endurance and resolve. Amidst this turmoil, Eleanor found solace in the company of a Native American named Mantea, a man whose wisdom and understanding of the land offered a lifeline of knowledge in a sea of uncertainty. Their interactions became a beacon of hope, suggesting that harmony and understanding might be possible in this tumultuous new world. And then there was Ananias, a man bound to Eleanor by the bonds of marriage, yet separated from her by the vast chasm of the unknown, the weight of his responsibilities pressing heavily upon him as he grappled with providing leadership and security for his people. As weeks turned into months, the challenges facing the colony grew more dire. The settlers, once filled with the zeal of discovery, began to succumb to the hardships of survival. The pangs of hunger, the sting of exposure, and the constant threat of conflict eroded their spirits. One evening, as the sky blazed with hues of orange and purple, a chilling event occurred that sent shockwaves through the settlement. A skirmish with a group of Native Americans left one of the colonists dead. This incident was a turning point, a violent rupture that shattered the illusion of harmony and plunged the colony into chaos. Governor White, torn between his role as leader and father, found himself at the center of a maelstrom of conflicting emotions. The responsibility of ensuring the colony's survival was a heavy burden, yet it was one he bore with stoic determination. Eleanor, now pregnant, faced a unique set of challenges. The realization that she would soon be giving birth in this unforgiving terrain added another layer of complexity to her story. Her journey was no longer just about personal survival, but about the continuation of life and the hope of a future generation in this untamed wilderness. As the winter chill crept in, the settlers hunkered down in their crude dwellings, each person grappling with the demons of fear and despair. The crackling of fires was more than just a source of warmth. It was a bulwark against the encroaching darkness both within and outside their shelter. Among them, Mantio's insights proved invaluable, guiding them in adapting to the rhythms of the new world. His knowledge of the land became their lifeline, helping them navigate the challenges of food scarcity and exposure to the elements. But as the icy grip of winter tightened its hold, the colony's fate hung in the balance, mirroring the precarious journey of Eleanor, whose own internal battles raged alongside the struggle for survival. And then came a moment of respite, a flicker of joy amidst the gloom. On August 18, 1587, amidst the rudimentary shelters of the colony, a baby girl was born. The settlers, their spirits momentarily lifted, celebrated this new life as a symbol of hope and resilience in the face of adversity. The birth of Virginia Dare, named after the very land that had been so challenging, was a source of both pride and vulnerability. Pride in the strength and tenacity of the human spirit, but also vulnerability in the realization that this child would grow up knowing no other world than this untamed frontier. The colony, however, remained on the brink, teetering between survival and collapse. The settlers, their numbers dwindling due to illness and dwindling resources, faced the grim specter of starvation. The relentless pressure of their situation tested the limits of their endurance, pushing them to the edge of despair. As John White prepared to leave for England in search of reinforcements, the gravity of his situation pressed upon him. The task of securing the colony's future rested on his shoulders, and the weight of this responsibility was a heavy mantle to bear. In the final moments before his departure, he made a heart-wrenching decision to entrust his daughter Eleanor and the precious newborn Virginia to the care of the colony. It was a choice driven by necessity, but one that tore at the fabric of his being, forcing him to confront the depths of his love and sacrifice. The sight of John White's ship disappearing into the hazy distance was etched forever in the memories of those left behind. The receding sails carrying with them the last vestiges of hope for rescue. The colonists, their spirits dampened by the dwindling prospects, retreated into their shelters, each person grappling with the stark reality of their situation. Ralph Lane, his earlier vigor replaced by a haunted intensity, intensified his patrols, seeking any sign of danger that might threaten the colony. His actions, though born of desperation, were viewed with suspicion by some, adding to the growing tension within the settlement. Eleanor, with the innocence of youth, tended to her garden, a small patch of greenery amidst the desolation. Her efforts, though seemingly futile against the harsh environment, were a testament to the indomitable spirit that refused to be subdued by the challenges of the new world. The colony, once a beacon of hope, was now shrouded in a blanket of despair. The settlers, weakened by hunger and disease, clung to the fading embers of their dreams. The vibrant vision of a thriving settlement had been replaced by the stark reality of a struggle for mere survival. Then one fateful night, as the wind howled like a wounded beast and rain lashed against their shelters, a horrifying scene unfolded. A fire erupted within the colony, quickly spreading and consuming everything in its path. The settlers, caught in the fury of the blaze, desperately attempted to salvage what they could, their faces illuminated by the eerie glow of their burning homes. Amidst the chaos, Eleanor cradled her infant daughter close, seeking to shield her from the horrors that surrounded them. The flames danced ominously, casting long, distorted shadows that seemed to mock their plight. The very foundations of their hopes and dreams were crumbling around them, leaving them exposed and vulnerable in the face of their fate. The next morning, as the smoke cleared and the embers cooled, the extent of the damage became all too clear. Homes were reduced to ashes, possessions turned to charred remnants, and the colony's defenses lay in tatters. The once proud settlers now huddled together, their bodies bearing the marks of exhaustion and despair. The aftermath of the fire was a stark reminder of their fragility in the face of nature's fury. The fire had not only consumed their material possessions, but had also ignited a sense of hopelessness that threatened to engulf their spirits. And so they waited, not knowing if their prayers would reach the ears of those who could help, or if they were truly on their own in this desolate corner of the New World. The fate of the colony hung in the balance, a somber testament to the human cost of exploration and the enduring spirit of those who dare to dream beyond the horizon. And thus the narrative of Roanoke ends, not with a definitive conclusion, but with an open-ended echo that resonates through the corridors of history. It's a tale of courage, of love and loss, of the relentless pursuit of dreams in the face of overwhelming odds. As we reflect on the story of Roanoke, we are reminded of the indomitable spirit of humanity, the courage to explore, the love that binds us, and the enduring quest for a better tomorrow. As autumn's chill crept into Roanoke, the settlers' hope began to wither like the crimson leaves that fell around them. The vast blue sky above was now veined with the paths of migrating birds, each V-shaped flock a soul escaping a judgment it seemed to sense would soon fall. Around flickering bonfires, their shadows stretched long and thin, like supplicating hands clutching at the mercy of the night. Eleanor Dare huddled close to the fading warmth, her gaze fixed on the dancing flames. The scent of pine smoke mingled with the musk of fear, forming a cloying fog of dread. Her maternal heart ached, not just for herself or the wan faces of the children, but for the brave, beleaguered men wrestling with starvation and the encroaching spectre of dissolution. Her husband, Ananias Dare, had fallen ill weeks ago. His robust frame wasted away to skin and bone, his eyes hollow pools reflecting the dying embers of his life. Each night she prayed for divine intervention, but the only answer was the mournful cry of the whippoorwill. Their daughter, Virginia, too young to comprehend the colony's plight, gazed at her father with an innocence that tore at Eleanor's soul. The child's every waking moment revolved around her father, now that even the sun seemed reluctant to rise, casting the world in perpetual dusk. The thought of losing both her husband and daughter to this cursed isle was more than Eleanor could bear. She wanted to flee, to board the next ship back to England, leaving behind the ghosts that haunted these shores. But the fierce, fanatical side of her nature, the unwavering believer in God's providence, wrestled with the desperate need for escape. Her faith, once a comforting beacon, now seemed like a life raft tossed into a boundless sea of misery. She clung to it, but the waves threatened to engulf her, pulling her under. Across the fire, Ralph Lane shifted restlessly, the leader of the Roanoke colony, a man forged in the fires of battle, Now faced a foe he was ill-equipped to fight, hunger. His keen soldier's eyes missed nothing, the tremor in a settler's hand, the vacant stare of one lost to despair, the subtle signs of mutiny brewing in their midst. He had kept order so far, but he knew their dwindling stores of food wouldn't last the winter. Hunting parties led by himself and Manteo returned with pitiful hauls of game, barely staving off the worst of the hunger. There were days when men questioned his leadership, their voices gaining strength with each empty stomach and fruitless hunt. Lane was a man of action, not words, and the discord gnawed at him, threatening to tear the colony apart at the very moment it needed to stand as one. As the twilight deepened, casting the fort in long, ominous shadows, Manteo emerged from the trees. He carried a heavy bag of maize kernels, the precious gift of the Croatoan tribe. In exchange, he had given them a few well-honed tools, but the look on his face told Eleanor that was not enough. The English were becoming a burden, a sickness among the healthy, a blight among the fruitful, and his people, bound by ties of kinship and affection to the English, were caught in the middle, amid the relentless swells of the Atlantic where storm clouds brooded like divine accusations over waves that crashed like verdicts upon England's distant shores. John White sailed back in August 1590, aboard the Hopewell, his artist's hands gripping rails slick with salt, as visions of Eleanor's embrace haunted his dreams. His paternal longing clashed with the guilt of delayed return amid war's delays with Spain. A man whose maps charted unknown coasts, yet faltered in navigating fate's cruel currents, torn between hope's fragile flame and despair's encroaching tide. Roanoke's silhouette emerged from fog like a spectral apparition. White's heart raced like a drum of dread. He'd come seeking answers, but the wind offered none, only the mournful cry of gulls like mourning widows. Ashore, the fort lay in ruins, vines choking the once proud stockades like nature's noose around forgotten ambitions. On a post, a single word, Croatoan, carved as if by trembling hands, an epitaph in the sand. White felt his worst fears bloom. His 115 settlers vanished, their fate a cruel jest. He traced the lettering, committing it to memory. Days he walked the shore, finding nothing but driftwood and dread. But from Croatoan fires, smoke beckoned across the sound. Storms thwarted crossing though, waves rearing like barriers erected by indifferent gods. White paced the deck of the Hopewell, his conflict peaking in futile shouts carried away by the gales, his crew mutinying against the peril. Returning to England in 1591, White's report to Raleigh stirred the court's imagination. Theories abounded. Had they perished in a savage massacre? Were they raided and enslaved by the Spanish? Or did they melt into the wilderness, becoming one with the untamed land? White's vivid sketches of the New World were now tainted by loss's gloom. His narrative faded to obscurity as Raleigh's patrons turned to other ventures. Yet on Hatteras, Manteo's descendants wove tales of pale strangers merging with the tribe. Their customs a blend of two worlds, their speech a tapestry of tongues. And Eleanor, if she survived the infamous relocation to Croatoan, may have joined the growing English settlements along the coast, her story lost in the shuffle of new arrivals. Some whispered that Ralph's group, if they survived, went inland, their fate entwined with the Powhatan Confederacy. Their bones may rest in unmarked mounds, casualties of disease that ravaged native populations. And as the centuries passed, the memory of Roanoke faded into a haunting legend. On moonlit nights, a white doe was said to roam the forests, her innocence twisted by fate or cursed to wander eternally, her pale form slipping through hunters' grasp, their arrows glancing off, as if guided by an unseen hand, as if fate itself shielded her from resolution. All the while, the haunting tableau, spectral deer bounding through moon-dappled dunes, eyes glowing like lost hopes under the moon's pallid watch. The real Eleanor Dare, daughter of the colony's governor, may have found her fate intertwined with the Lumbee tribe on North Carolina's coastal plains, her maternal grace lost in the blend of generations, yet her DNA whispers of English blood, a tragic dissolution where names faded like inscriptions on weathered stone. Somewhere in a native hearth, White's granddaughter, Virginia Dare, may have endured, her cries echoing in folklore that spun tales of pale riders and vanished colonies. The very name Croatoan became synonymous with vanishing, a chilling echo of what might have been, but amidst the shadows, glimmers of survival flickered. Had they drowned in the Sound's depths during relocation? Some argued. Others claimed they were slain by the Powhatan in ritual vengeance. And still others whispered of starvation on the mainland, where the colony's bones bleached under unforgiving suns. Manteo's alliance with the English crumbled before colonial tides that swept natives into oblivion. His name persisted on maps, yet his people scattered like leaves in a gale, their voices fading into the winds of change. And then there are those who believe the lost colony was never truly lost, but assimilated into the Croatoan tribe, their presence interwoven into the fabric of the native community. This notion found support in the 19th century when the Lumbee tribe claimed descent from the English settlers. Could Eleanor Dare's spirit be stirring among them, her fate rewritten in the annals of an enduring tribe? In 2025, excavations on Hatteras uncovered artifacts pointing to this assimilation. Iron flakes from the colony's blacksmith mingling with Croatoan pottery, suggesting a crucible where cultures fused in the fires of survival. Yet many argue the colony's true legacy lies not in surviving, but in vanishing, their abrupt disappearance mirroring the fragility of dreams against the wilderness's indifference. Decades later, as England's grip on Roanoke tightened, the soil yielded more secrets. In the 1960s, archaeologists unearthed a burial ground on Hatteras Island. Here, beneath weather-beaten headstones, rested the colony's first minister, Francis, and his wife Eleanor, their remains offering tangible proof of a community once vibrant and alive. Nearby, the skeleton of a young woman lay apart, a mysterious third party whose presence hinted at even deeper entanglements. These revelations were paralleled by the discovery of a cache of artifacts, including a pewter plate bearing the Dare family crest, tangible links to the colony's most prominent family. The sheer weight of these findings demanded a re-examination of history. Did Eleanor Dare perish on Roanoke, or thrive in Croatoan's embrace? The question echoed through the ages, a haunting refrain as tangible as bone and pewter. As centuries rolled on, speculation swirled around Manteo, the native guide who led colonists to Croatoan. Was he a friend or foe, a savior or deceiver? In recent years, his name has resurfaced on old maps and forgotten documents, each reference a fragment of a shattered identity. Manteo could have remained in the Croatoan area, his descendants possibly living among the Lumbee tribe today. His story might have ended peacefully, his impact on history remembered but not defined by the enigma of the lost colony. Yet the past decade has seen a surge in alternate theories. What if Manteo actually perished during the colony's upheaval, his spirit forever tied to Roanoke's fate? Could his bones rest beneath the very island that bore his name? The thought is both unsettling and alluring, a potential resting place for a man whose fate mirrored the colony's own ambiguity. In the end, Roanoke's tale is a Baroque dirge, a requiem for ambitions fallen and reclaimed by the wilderness. Its characters, though, once vibrant souls, now dwell in time's abyss, their emotional storms raging against the elusive dawn of resolution. And so the mystery deepens, mirroring the ocean's depths, where truth lies hidden beneath crashing waves. As the sun sets over Roanoke's shores, the lost colony fades into legend, leaving behind a haunting melody of what could have been. And on moonlit nights, the spectral deer still bounds through the dunes, her mournful cry echoing the timeless lament of a vanished world. With the fate of Eleanor Dare and Manteo forever entwined in Roanoke's haunting legacy, their stories serve as poignant reminders of the human cost of ambition's grand designs. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on the themes we've explored. How do you think Eleanor and Manteo's fates are intertwined in Roanoke's legacy? And how does the discovery of artifacts like the pewter plate with the Dare family crest challenge our understanding of the lost colony? Feel free to share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Your insights are invaluable and help us all delve deeper into these captivating historical mysteries. If you're eager to continue exploring more tales of intrigue and history, we invite you to stay tuned for more content. We've got more stories waiting to unfold. Thanks for joining us on this journey through time. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep seeking answers, and keep exploring the captivating mysteries that shaped our world.